I think some teams might want to rethink not trading for Michael Lorenzen. And Kip, props to the no-hitter for him. He's at, what was it? I think 111, was it? And ends up with 124. Some managers wouldn't let him go that deep, perhaps, no?
Not always. I think you're kind of getting into that sweet spot of the season where I think everyone's arms kind of built up and about as good as it gets in terms of endurance, though. So I think if there's ever a time to really go for it, he picked the right spot.
You got to let him go there. This isn't a young kid. This is a veteran dude.
Of course. You should be fired if you're a manager and you don't let him go.
Okay, so Clayton Kershaw, when he was perfect like opening day through 6 innings, should Dave Roberts been fired for taking him out?
Yeah.
You're stupid now. Being stupid.
I'm saying in this situation,
he's a veteran guy. Yes. He was cruising. Yeah, let him try it. This is the only shot he might ever have at throwing a no-hitter, and he did it. It was all in Vans, his white Vans, too. Those are awesome. He's begging for a new pair.
There's still enough time, too. You can give him a start off or something if you're making a playoff push or something or getting ready for the playoffs. So there's still time on the back end behind it.
Yeah, and the Phillies
they have 2 off days next week.
But the Phillies are also good. The Phillies are in. I mean, the Phillies are in. There's the Vans, by the way, which
going to the Hall of Fame. Does he actually have a sponsorship with them? And one of the FT fans asked me on Twitter yesterday if he's the only one that wears Vans on the field.
Yes.
He's the only one. I don't think it's a sponsorship. I think you can just send in shoes to different places and get cleats put on the bottom of them.
Oh, okay. Well, they should actually make it official because they've gotten a ton of free marketing out of him over the past year, especially. His stuff went viral with us earlier this year when he was saying how he's wearing Vans. And I tweeted at Vans and said, let's go straight to the source. Is he the only one wearing? And they've just been big leaguing everyone. So Vans.
Well, they're loving it. They don't have to answer because they got a pair in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Nobody ever thought there'd be a pair of Vans in the Hall of Fame. Now there is. And good. Listen, that was awesome. The crowd was great. The shots, and mad props to the Philly camera crew, director, producer for showing his family. And they were like praying when he got down to the last out. They were like, please, you could read their lips. One more, just one more. Right? His wife, I think, and his mom right here, the shot, like, come on, please, just one more. They're like, and then Dom Smith hits his pop-up, and then they cut to Lorenzen, and they cut back to his family. They're hugging everybody. They're hugging people that weren't even from Philadelphia. They're just hugging anybody they could get their hands on. It's awesome. Look, the mom's like, oh, my gosh, still filming. It's great, though. Good for you, Michael Lorenzen. Good for the Phillies for, again, going and getting a guy that fit for them. And, I mean, they're in the playoffs. I feel like they're in the playoffs. They're going to get a wild card, and they could do some damage once again because they're not afraid of the Braves.
Good karma for giving Trey Turner that standing O.
Absolutely.
They could turn
6-game hitting streak since then, too.
Good karma for them. So was one of their rewards.
And Liam Castellanos was everywhere last night.
That dude's got the freshest haircut.
He is definitely going to the team barber.
Lined up. He is absolutely in the chair while you're trying to get a cut.
Does he come to
school? Not you, but
yeah, it's summertime.
It's not. My kids are in school.
Not up north.
No,
not
up
kids,
here.
Does he go to school?
No, we don't do that up north.
Oh,
we start later.
My kids are 2 days in already.
Up north, usually around Labor Day.
Oh,
yeah,
I think
they're still a few weeks out.
Yeah,
week and a half.
Keep doing your thing, Liam, and fuck school. No, don't listen to me.
Not a baby.
I'm kidding.
It's a family program.
Hey, Castellanos had 2 homers. He hit his 200th, but that was 3rd place in terms of milestones in that game. Obviously, I would say Lorenzen won. Number 2, Wes Wilson had his family there. He's 28 years old. He's a rookie. First plate appearance, dinger. Family in tears. He'd been in the minor leagues forever. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
What a game.
They showed his dad jumping up and down, too. That was so cool.
Crying.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, think about it. You're
10 years or whatever it was in the minors.
Thinking, my kid's never going to make it. And then first at bat, Yahtzee.
He has an OPS plus of 1,177, if you guys were wondering.
I wasn't, but that's great.
That's great. Small sample size.
Small sample size.
Teeny
but
tiny.
how would you feel if your son, his first at bat in the big leagues, I don't care if he's in the minors for 7 years or not, would you cry? Would you tear up?
I'm not a big crier. It's hard for me to
Yeah.
cry.
Not yet.
You didn't ask me
Someday
about
you
my
will.
son, but I would not probably cry. I don't have that in me.
I'm not a
No?
crier.
Yeah.
I'd just be super happy. My wife would be bawling, but I would be not. I mean, I would be very happy. Crying though is just I don't really have a lot of crying in me.
This is an unemotional studio in Orlando.
Yes.
Do you remember the last time you cried, AJ?
You don't?
If it's
I
not
do.
often, I figured you remember.
Yeah, I've only cried a few times in.
And if it
in,
brings up
like,
something,
15
don't
years.
no need to say it.
Don't-
If it brings up something.
If it brings up something personal, you don't need to mention it.
I've got
No. I honestly, I
funeral ever. Like I've got a couple
You know what,
family
that would-
members
yes,
where you're
a
at the
funeral.
funeral. There's been
You know what,
tears shed. That's it for me.
Probably 2012, our BP thrower passed away the first series of the year we had to do a funeral to Kevin Hickey, rest in peace. He was our BP thrower, and we did a funeral during the year, and we were the pallbearers, the players, and then I had to go up and give a eulogy.
Oof.
You want to talk on a game day? You want to talk about one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life, and I don't have a fear of public speaking at all. But to go up there and you're in the church and you're standing there and you're at the pulpit and you're looking down and the family's in the front row bawling and you're like,
Yeah.
what do I say? And
not
you
fun.
have it kind of planned out, but you get up there and you just lose control of everything. So that was, there you go, Kip.
You completely irrelevant to the big picture of that story, but you guys had a game later that day
Yeah.
too. You said, did you guys
Yeah.
win?
No.
I was going to say that's a
Training.
that's a tall task right there.
Yeah. It was, all of us were at the funeral. Obviously it was awful for the family and awful for everything. And, still have, memories of him. He was White Sox out the whole time I was there and threw BP to me every day. So it was just one of them things. It was awful.
On a positive note,
Yeah, let's get back. Let's get
back to
back.
Lorenzen.
Yeah.
I do have a
Please.
question for you guys. So, if you were Wes Wilson and you made your debut and you're 28 years old and your first plate appearance you hit a homer, would you be like, "Damn, Lorenzen, you're a nice dude, and I'm really glad that we have you on our team, and this is all awesome. But could you have done that tomorrow? Can I have my one day?"
Yeah.
And post game interview, it's with Lorenzen, obviously. Otherwise, it's clearly with Wes Wilson. Or is it like, whatever, I'm so happy to be here, I don't give a shit. Seriously, though, would you be like, could this have been one day later? There's 162 games. I picked the day when there's a freaking
Great.
no-hitter.
You know why? You can slide under the radar.
Do you want to slide under the radar?
Yes.
Really?
If you're Wes Wilson, absolutely. You just want nobody to know you're there. You do your job and you stay as long as you can. Because remember the guy for Pittsburgh?
Maggie?
Maggie. He
Maggie,
came up and got
yeah.
all the fanfare, and then we heard from him since.
A few days later.
Double
I don't
A.
know. What does that have to do with anything?
It has
The
a lot to do with it.
attention? Does it really? Like the attention versus just how he fills a spot on the roster?
He
Now
may
there's-
not want it, but if you're a teammate, I guess you want him to enjoy it and soak that up. If you've been grinding for that many years in the minors, you want him to get his flowers on that day, kind of. But I get it. I agree with these guys, though, that it's like you want him to just blend into the background till
Yeah.
a further date.
He feels fine. He is not
Yeah.
like it didn't take anything away from what he did. If he's like an attention seeking horde or something, then maybe. But no. He's got he played for free yesterday. He had like 15 people in his section. He's gonna go hang out with those people. They're gonna celebrate it. He's gonna get 250 texts from all his teammates from Milwaukee coming up through the minor leagues there. Like he's
Tonight's
good to
game's gonna be boring as hell to him.
Oh,
You get your first home run and a no hitter, and you think that's what every major league game's like? Just that kind of spotlight.
I told you it was like when my first game was the day when we had McGuire on. I told
Well,
him
you told me that on a show
my
that
first
some
big
people
league
might
game
not
was
have
the
seen
day
yet.
Mark McGuire
Mm-hmm.
broke the home run record. He hit 62 my first day, and I'm like, dude, this big league stuff's kind of cool. Like this
That
happens
was your
every
first
day.
day?
First day. I'm like, man, this is pretty cool. Big league. I told Mac, I'm like, hey, man, this is how big leagues are. They just crazy shit happens every day, and then then 20 years later, you're like, man, that was pretty special.
That was huge, yeah.
Yeah.
And more on that later. We'll show a little Legends territory because that episode was awesome. But I just want to point out a few things. Number one, Johan Rojas was a beast in center field. He had 9 putouts.
Going and getting it.
Dude gobbled up a third of the outs. Crazy.
Lorenzen said that in his post game speech. He's like, "Yeah, I'm just glad Johan was out there. That guy got all the balls. He was just running everywhere, like Kelly Leak style too."
Also, you join a new team. He went 8 innings and really saved the bullpen that day in his first start with Philly. Now you go, obviously, the complete game second time around. He works with Caleb Cotham, the pitching coach, who they were teammates, right, at some point. And also, you joined Real Muto, who's one of the better catchers in the league. Is there anything to any of that where all of a sudden you take a guy who's been an all-star this year and he's pitched well, and now the last 2 days he's pitching like he's a number 1 or 2 starter.
Making Dave Dombrowski look really good. Right
really
now.
Damn good. Oh, what do you know? Dave Dombrowski does shit. Now, he might not think about 5-6 years from now, but why is anybody thinking about 5-6 years from now? Who knows where we're going to be, right? Aliens might take over. Dave Dombrowski doesn't care. I mean, I'm just saying.
Float off the end of the flat Earth, Scott.
We did a lot of complaining. Kip, we did a lot of complaining at the trade deadline because there was 6-7 teams that did 0. And I bet you a lot of them are regretting when they watch Michael Lorenzen right now, because it's not like you had to trade the entire world to pick him up. And that's a great pickup where were the Cincinnati Reds in the running for Michael Lorenzen? They needed him. Were they?
I don't know.
They needed him way more than the Phillies did.